Hey guys, TheTurtleDork here with a new review. This week I have for you Headshot, the new martial arts film starring Iko Uwais. Yes, Iko Uwais is back. We all know him from The Raid and The Raid 2 with working with Gareth Evans. But this time he's working with a new director, and this film is something different. Now, if you were coming into this film thinking you were going to get The Raid and The Raid 2, you may leave the theater a little disappointed, but I will have to tell you this. That is actually what I found really refreshing with this film, is the fact that you get a lot of Iko doing what Iko does. But it's nothing like The Raid. The fight scenes are completely different. The story is completely different. And you get something wholly new and refreshing in this film. And I really enjoyed that. So just to give you a premise of the story, Iko plays an amnesiac who washes up on shore and is nursed back to health by a young nurse. And when his past comes looking for him, violence ensues. And boy does it ensue. Now this is a very simplistic story, a very, I don't want to say simplistic, I would say it's a very straightforward story. So it's not really that complex, but I will say that the performances given by all the actors involved in this story really do give it a lot more depth than you would normally get in your standard action film. And again, like I said earlier, that's what I found really refreshing about this. I think all the performances were really great. It really gives a lot of nuance to the backstory of a lot of these characters, and it really adds a different layer to the fight scenes when you know the history of not just Iko, but a lot of these other characters that he's fighting as well. I don't want to give a lot away, but there's a backstory to everybody involved that's interconnected that really plays out nicely in this film. Now let's talk a little bit about the fight scenes. One thing that I really enjoyed about the film as well was was how these fights were choreographed. Now, as you know from The Raid, a lot of those fights, as brutal as they are, they feel kind of like a dance. Like you could feel the choreography being done in a lot of those fight scenes, as brutal as they are. But there's something here about the choreography where it makes it just feel dirty and gritty, and it feels less choreographed, if that makes sense. Even though we know as audience members and people who are action aficionados that a lot of this stuff is highly choreographed, but the way that this film is shot and the way that the action is choreographed, it has a grit to it that I haven't seen in a film in quite a while. And again, that's something that I really liked seeing in this film. It's funny, the movie, while watching it, it reminded me a little bit of Game of Death, because we have kind of like that video game vibe where we see Iko go from person to person, you know, trying to make his way to the big boss. And so that was a lot of fun to watch. And this movie is very reminiscent of a lot of other films that came before it, and that's not a bad thing. I also felt that this film had shades of The Bourne Identity, with the whole idea of him being amnesiac and trying to find out what his past is and confronting his past. And I don't know if this is too much of a spoiler, but it also reminded me a little bit of that Jet Li film Unleashed. I won't go too much more into that, but if you've seen Unleashed, then you may know what I'm talking about if you've seen Headshot. But I don't know, it was cool to kind of see shades of those little movies in this film, again, I don't think that's a negative or a strike against it. I actually thought that was actually kind of cool to be able to kind of take all those different elements and kind of still tell this very straightforward action film. That was nice to see. So yeah, so with a final score for this film, I would give this a solid 85 out of 100. I absolutely enjoyed watching this film, and I look forward to seeing it again. I definitely recommend, if it's playing in your area, to go ahead and check out Headshot. It'll definitely be worth your time, and it'll definitely be worth your money. So go ahead and let me know what you thought of Headshot below. Go ahead, rate, like, subscribe, and share, and go ahead and check out my other dorks at MouthDork, at TheDiscoDork, and at Sidewalk Siren. And for me, I am the Turtle Dork, and with that, I'm out.